The main story in Yakuza Like a Dragon is a tense, complex web of betrayal, political intrigue, and power struggles that go to the very top of the organized crime world and beyond.
You know this scruffy-haired punk, Tendo? I only know him as the guy the captain shot. Alive and kicking somehow.
The side stories in Yakuza Like a Dragon, however, are almost universally buck wild, as you can see from the fact that there's a mission where you have to identify who's peeing in the river from their stance, and it didn't even make it into this list.
Yo.
Yes, wander off the beaten track in Yakuza 7 and you'll discover that the game's Yokohama is absolutely rammed with weirdos who all want you to do their weirdo dirty work for them. Consider these our 7 favourite Yakuza sub-stories that are weird even for Yakuza. Enjoy!
Hey, you there! Ever thought about entering the wild world of Dragon Kart?
Huh? Dragon Kart? The hell's that?
With all the constant punching and being punched, even the most hardened Yakuza needs to relax and unwind occasionally, and Yakuza Like a Dragon gives your character, Ichiban Kasuga, plenty of opportunities to do just that with the series' usual assortment of bars, gambling dens, and of course, karaoke spots. New for Like a Dragon though, and certainly something we weren't expecting to see, is a full-on kart racing game introduced in the sub-story Welcome to Dragon Kart.
Get ready to eat dust! See ya! Slow down, Turbo!
A surprisingly solid racer, Dragon Kart has you racing your go-kart around the streets of Yokohama, collecting dragon rings, using boost pads for extra speed, and collecting power-ups that include an actual rocket launcher to use against your rivals.
Oh, that sucks!
Speaking of rivals, you aren't just competing against other people looking for a fun way to kill time. Everyone else you're racing takes it incredibly seriously, and they include 2 different kinds of wrestler, a casino dealer, gangsters, and bikers, which all seems a bit extreme for a tourist attraction in a popular public park.
I gave you all your say, but damn if you don't talk a lot of trash. You guys got me pretty fired up. But you're gonna be eating my dust next race, so be sure to open wide.
Some talk. You better remember those words. I'll be looking forward to it.
Kasuga, can you try and not turn everything you do into a desperate life or death struggle against the odds? Appreciate it, thanks.
つことは昔の映画を上映してる映画館か。うちは安眠施設じゃないってのに失礼しちゃうよ、ほんと。名作なのにな。
Introduced in the side quest Old Cinema Paradiso, another leisure option open to Kasuga when he doesn't feel like wailing on people with a baseball bat is the Seagull Cinema.
はい。この海猫座は
This fine old movie house is home to a wide selection of classic films, all of which are unbelievably boring.
何度見てもいいんですよね。
Which wouldn't ordinarily be a problem, except for the fact that Ichiban has spoken to the cinema's owner and is now therefore his best friend, as is often the case with Ichiban.
だが、せっかくの支配人の行為を無限にするわけにもいかねえ。
Now, it would be rude for Ichiban to fall asleep during the film, which means your cinema-going experience now becomes a desperate struggle to stay awake, as represented by you fending off assaults by ram-headed sleep demons who are trying to get you to nod off by firing balls of sleep energy at you. There's also a guy with a chicken head and some symbols, but don't attack him, despite, you know, every fibre of your being urging you to do just that. Manage to make it through the entire film without passing out from boredom, and you'll be rewarded with a personality boost and the knowledge that you've helped out an old man who just loves classic cinema and has also fallen asleep. Great. Glad I bothered.
ってお前が寝るんかい。
This is absurd. Why would the Yakuza need baby formula?
They're shaking the guy down for baby formula.
A surprisingly large percentage of a Yakuza's life is spent running around doing minor errands for randos. Or at least it is as far as Yakuza Like a Dragon is concerned, where you're constantly doing things like having to go and fetch hot water to help a stranger make some baby formula to give to a baby he thinks he heard inside a building you happen to be wandering past. Yeah. When you've completed this seemingly innocent fetch quest, you discover that the baby in question is in fact a middle-aged Yakuza boss with a very specific fetish who makes all his subordinates indulge in his extracurricular activities with him.
Sorry to bother you, boys. Yo, let's go.
Yes, goodbye.
Not so fast, Chief!
This leads to a fight in which, at least, you can be confident that the opposing side don't have any concealed weapons. I mean, where would they put them? Win the fight and everyone resolves this big misunderstanding, and you join the Patriarch for a celebratory toast.
Join us, why don't you?
Huh? Me?
That's right. No need to be shy.
Ichiban, you know you don't have to say yes to everything people ask you to do, right?
That's God's work right there.
Oh dear, that wasn't enough time.
Huh? Excuse me. You need help crossing the street?
Well, of sorts, yes.
This being a Yakuza game, we weren't too surprised when wandering the streets of Yokohama to see a man sprinting past us leaving a trail of smoke behind him. You see like 4 things that we're just crossing the street to visit a noodle restaurant. What is truly bizarre, however, is the cause of the man's distress, namely a super spicy batch of kimchi cooked up by this street vendor who's having trouble selling any of it on account of, well, the obvious side effects. Disheartened, he gives the rest of the batch to Kasuga, who then, like some kind of fermented cabbage Santa, travels around Yokohama doling out kimchi to the people who need it most, from the track star who can't improve his time, to an old lady having trouble crossing the street,
Granny, you finally crossed the street!
to the schoolgirl who needs the motivation to run up to a train platform to declare her love to someone. No one is safe from Kasuga's big weird pot of stinky spicy cabbage that surely causes just as many problems as it solves. Still, it seems that, having spread the word, sales are now booming. I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
It burns!
頼んだぞ。背中のバツ印だな。わかった。まだ遠くには行ってないだろうし、下流の方を探したら捕まえられるかもな。
Something else you might not expect to see in the street while strolling through Yokohama is a crawfish just hanging out on the road. Still, Ichiban knows exactly what to do in this kind of situation. Immediately yeet it bodily into the river.
そんじゃ元気でなっと。わしのナンシーが。
Which would normally be fine, except it turns out that this crawfish was called Nancy, belonged to this guy who was just out taking her for her daily walk, and you just hurled someone's beloved pet into the river.
悪かったな、じいさん。
Ichiban being Ichiban, you can't just apologize and move on, and so we find ourselves in this gritty drama about terrifying organized crime syndicates, carefully examining the shells of various crawfish until we find the one that we accidentally chucked into a river.
Oh.
And that's not even the end of it. When you do return Nancy to her owner, it turns out that he was only taking care of her to fatten her up so he could eat her, something Kasuga absolutely can't allow on account of how Nancy is now, again, one of his very best friends.
ちょっと待った。ん？なんじゃ。もたもたしとると鮮度が落ちるぞい。なあ、なんし。あ？いや、なんか ナンシーを必死に探してここまで連れてきたら
This means you have to trek across town and spend a bunch of money to buy a premium sushi set to exchange for Nancy's life, which is annoying, but on the plus side you do unlock Nancy as a summon in battle, and her special ability is called Plague of Pincers, so on balance, it's totally worth it. Can't wait to use that in a serious and emotional story battle.
Nancy, you and I are gonna get on just fine. Help you with what?
To tell you the truth, I need to hop a train to Tokyo as soon as possible. But I don't have any clothes.
You don't have any clothes?
Yeah. All I've got are these bubbles.
Bubbles? What are you talking about?
Here, see for yourself.
Next up on our list of weird things that absolutely aren't Ichiban's problem is the situation we find ourselves in the sub-story Bubble Bubble Toil and Trouble. As we can see, a naked man has been kicked out of an erotic bathhouse and has only a covering of rapidly diminishing bubbles to preserve his modesty.
But with the way I am now, I'll get caught before I even make it to the station.
Yeah, no
I'm begging you. Can I borrow your clothes?
Instead of wishing him good luck and moving on with his, I remind you, desperately important quest that could determine the fate of the entire nation, Ichiban instead opts to help the hapless hot tubber make his way across town to a clothing store, avoiding the various water sources that would wash his bubbles off that seem to have suddenly sprung up everywhere, from people emptying ladles in the street to the fire department, who I guess are testing their hoses. Makes sense. Persevere though, and you'll make it to the clothing store, at which point it's up to you to pick the right response to let the employee there allow this man in so he can clothe himself.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the wrong answer, but in a way, it's very much the right answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Animal Circus. We're here today at Hamakita Park to bring you a day of excitement and fun. And don't forget to take some time to meet and greet our animals, the stars of the show. They're all very well behaved, so don't miss this chance to make some new friends.
Located in Hamakita Park, the Grand Animal Circus is an objectively bad enterprise whose entire business model appears to be making the folks from Tiger King look like responsible animal owners. You encounter the circus's ringmaster, Yasuda, 3 times in the park, and each time he has jammed an animal into a tiny cage, which they almost immediately break out of.
Please, I'm talking to our guest here.
First up, it's a giant grizzly bear which wanders out of its cage, a bad thing that's only saved by the fact that it gives us this incredible panic animation from Ichiban.
She listens to me no matter what. What a load of crap.
You, please, help me get Catherine-chan back in her cage.
You then have to fistfight this bear to get it back into its cage, something I don't think anyone should feel good about.
Let's do it.
Still, Yasuda must have learned his lesson from this, right? Wrong, because it happens again, almost immediately, only this time with a tiger.
Hey, I thought you said you two understood each other. She seems pretty pissed off to me.
That you then also have to fight.
I don't miss.
I got this.
Finally, Yasuda moves on to a chimp who, you guessed it, immediately escapes.
Yo.
And you then have to fight.
There she is!
But at least it's just a chimp, right? Shouldn't be as hard as a bear or a tiger. I mean, unless it somehow managed to climb into some huge piece of industrial equipment. Oh.
Clara's on the digger!
The serious crime drama will probably be along right after this, I expect. It's coming, I can feel it.
Look, I'll be real with you. No more animals!
Wait, don't go! Kasuga-san!
There you have it, 7 of the weirdest sub-stories in Yakuza Like a Dragon that are weird even for Yakuza. What are your favourite weird missions from the Yakuza series? Let us know in the comments and like and subscribe for more videos like this from Outside Xbox. Thanks for watching!